Thank you for listening to the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast. This is not a happy hour. Coming to you from the kitchen studios high atop downtown Raleigh, telling the food and beverage stories from inside the bottle, on the farm, and at the kitchen. I am the butler, Keely motherfucking Wagner, and here's your host, Max Trujillo!
Hello, and thank you for listening to the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast. I am your host today, Max Trujillo, and we are on Wednesday of This Is Not a Happy Hour at the kitchens, and we have a packed room again. I guess we're going to call Mike Rosato our co-host right here. Mike Rosato, say hello.
Hello.
So if you listen to the Pencil Pushers podcast, then you have heard Mike and his dulcet tones there. And that's a podcast that I co-produce with Mike, and it's about the hand-drawn arts, and it's dope.
It's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. So download, subscribe, check it out. We're about to release a really, really cool episode about mural art, graffiti art, all over Greensboro, North Carolina. It's really cool. But let's go around the room. We've got a cast of characters here, the veterans of the original This Is Not a Happy Hour. We have Mr. Ian Murray, now of Foundation Bar, right across the street. Say hello, Ian.
Hello, I am right across the street now.
and MJ, I don't know your last name. We just met.
Burns. MJ Burns.
MJ Burns, you are, as Tony Ursone had mentioned, the new school, the next generation of bartenders.
Changing of the guard.
The changing of the guard, yeah. Because
I will gladly accept that title.
As Tony and I realized, because we're all getting old. And
we all have bald heads.
Speak for yourself.
And Mr. Tony is here as well, who's repping Kill Devil Hills, Kill Devil Rum back there. Say hello, Tom.
Why, hello again.
Justin, what is your last name again?
Passfield.
There. Of Locals Seafood.
And Person Street Bar.
And Locals Oyster Bar. And, of course, Lynn Peterson's over here as well, of the same Local Seafood. Kathleen Smith.
Yes.
Okay, my brain. Give me a break, right? Kathleen Smith of Key City Spirits is here, who helped this bar get done today.
North Carolina Spirits rock.
Oh, man. From Dock Porters to Fair Game to
Copper Barrel, Mayberry Spirits.
Man.
We got it all.
We've had a full bar. It's been
In fact,
amazing.
what was it we just threw down? We just did a shot of...
Fair Game Apple Brandy.
Fair Game Apple Brandy, 80 proof, really tasty. It's about to be only in 100 proof.
Correct.
Bartender approved. Bartender approved.
This one's not 100 proof yet, right? Is that right? This one's not.
What you find in the market will be.
Okay, nice.
It's delicious. It's got like a southern French kind of feel to it.
Comes out of Hendersonville area with their apples and distilled right here in Pittsboro, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And we have it always at Foundation. We also have the 100 proof Foundation right now as well. So
Yeah.
if you guys are down.
And then Randy Lewis, Ranloo Dairies, Randy Lewis is right back there. Ran, you were on the episode last year on a Friday. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Great to be here.
Who did you bring with you?
I have my right-hand person, Taylor Hayes. It'd be hard for me to live without her.
Yeah, Taylor. Hello, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Glad to be here.
What, you're like his handler? You like help him like
His bodyguard.
I'm a chaperone. I do a bad job. I run the bottling plant on the dairy.
Nice.
Okay. Very cool. If you haven't had Ranloo Dairy, you're missing out. It is awesome, and it's obviously locally sourced and all. But Jersey cows, is that what we're doing?
Well, yeah, we have Jerseys, Guernseys, Brown Swiss, Holsteins, and crosses of all the above. If they had a purple cow, I'd try to have one.
Yeah.
I like them all.
And you're doing ice cream now, is that right?
Yeah, that's going to be our newest venture. We've got a couple of things coming up, but our newest adventure is going to be ice cream. We're going to say maybe around the 1st of May, we'd get everybody to watch our social media to find out when we actually get cranked up. But around the 1st of May, we're going to just make some homemade ice cream, let everybody sample it in the front yard, and hopefully it'll go over good. We like ice cream.
That is awesome. I'm sure we could figure out how to put cocktails into that or some liquor into
absolutely. Yeah, trust me, it works good.
it. Like our friends and sponsor of the show, Proof Alcohol Ice Cream, which donate a lot of their wares, and we thank them very much. Think differently about ice cream. Put some liquor in it and eat. That's
Make a float. It works great.
Yeah, exactly.
Irish coffee affogato, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay. MJ.
Oh, wow.
So you have been you've tended bar now at a few places, but you're kind of a rookie still. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I've been bartending since November, but I've done hosting, serving, been back of house, did garde manger, sauté. I've been through it pretty much.
Yeah, and my wife, she was like, when we were setting up all the bartenders for this week, I was listening, I'm like, we've got Aaron, we've got Ian, we've got Deshaun, we've got Zach, we've got Greg. She's like, I don't hear a woman's name in any of those. And I said...
You don't often.
Yeah, I was like, it's not that I'm not trying to get a lady bartender. It would be awesome, but...
Yeah, why is that? Why is that not so common?
I don't know. I mean, we have a couple bartenders in the room. Put it to you. How come we don't have more women out there slinging drinks?
So, you go first.
Yeah,
You go
let
first.
her-
You're
let-
a woman. You're a
I
woman.
go
Let
first.
her speak.
Yeah, Ian, mansplained it to her. Why?
let me.
I will take the L as a newer bartender, and I'll let the veterans go first. Go ahead, Ian.
Okay.
I would say that you don't see, I think the industry is still very sexist, and I think that might be one of the reasons. People that are hiring and firing in a lot of bars, maybe not, they might be hiring people for the wrong reasons. So you don't necessarily see, you go to a cocktail bar and it's like a boys club every time, and it's really sad to see. But actually now, I mean, in the last few years, especially around Raleigh, as we have these fire trucks going right past
This
us.
is not a soundproof studio.
It's been a changing. We've had really good changing times. I really think Ashley Christensen has been pushing the envelope with every place she has, with MJ, and a lot of younger heads coming up. I really think that. It's pushing forward now.
I'll say something about this that's super controversial and will make me sound shitty, but this was an opinion that I had.
Is this where you're going to say that male bartenders are way better than female bartenders?
No. It was awesome working with female bartenders. I used to run a bar in Westwood, California, at Napa Valley Grill, and it was like, it was UCLA country, and it would get slammed. And I would work with Ashley, who is a beautiful redhead, tall, strong, and these are the reasons I'm mentioning this. She's like tall and strong, and wasn't afraid of lifting a keg, wasn't afraid of taking out the trash, the recycling, all that. But she was the only bartender I worked with growing up that was female that would do those things, because most of the ladies I worked with then, and I'm just telling you this is the way it was, they would tip out other people at the place to do all the menial tasks and all the hard stuff. So us other guy bartenders are like, wait, what? You're giving Joe $5 to take the trash out? And she's like, yeah. And we're like,
Maybe they were just smarter.
yeah.
Why work harder if you can work smarter?
Yeah, I mean, actually, inside of me saying that, I realized, they're pretty entrepreneurial in that sense. Fuck that, I'm not lifting all that trash. If someone wants to do it and they want $5, I'll gladly give it to them. But I think there was this bro code of chicks they don't do things like the way we do. They don't lift this stuff. They don't do all the macho stuff.
That is still prevalent
there's
today,
some-
my friend.
It's exactly
So there's some
what I was saying.
improvements going on. The USBG in Charlotte, Colleen Hughes, who's a great influencer in the market, just got elected to the national USBG board.
Hell yeah,
which is-
USBG.
Yeah, and that's not the only person. There's a lot of talent coming in behind her. I'm less familiar with the Raleigh market, but there's a lot of female talent behind that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to talk about female bartenders and female service industry in general, I mean, we have somebody who's on the short list for James Beard Award here in town. You got Cappy Pete,
Right, that's
AC
true.
Restaurants right downstairs.
Yeah,
You've got
outstanding beverage program.
Dina at Anchor Bar running an excellent program right across the street. You got Sarah over at Fox Bar, killing it. I mean, she's going statewide, national. I mean, she's 23 years old, and she's bringing it up the new school like that. So I mean, I think we have the opportunity, and we have the people coming through. And Bailey over at Dram and Draft. I mean, you've got these people that are in town, and they're starting to do it. They just need to get more represented.
That's awesome.
Above,
I'm so encouraged about that. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked for Dina now. I used to sell my bitters to Dina back in 2017. I love her. And then Megan, who is going to be the bar manager at Lady Luck, just opening up right
That's
now.
right. I was just chatting with her the other day.
Kills
Yeah.
it.
She was at
kills it.
Cortez for a long
She was
time.
at Cortez, and she was awesome.
What made you decide to be a bartender?
I've always really been interested in this industry, and I always want to learn more. I started making my own bitters in 2017, and I was still a line cook, and I wanted to know, what is it that makes a good drink? What do people come back for? And so in April, I switched out my behind-the-line job for a bar backing job, and I started bartending in November. I just want to know, it's all connected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And on that note, if you don't mind, there's a few North Carolina female distillers, including Melissa out of Durham Distillery, Caroline out of Muddy River, and I'm probably missing a few, but that's just to name a couple of North Carolina female distillers as well that are up and coming.
Yeah.
So.
It'll be cool when we never have this conversation ever again, right?
Well,
When it's irrelevant.
Right.
I don't know if you guys have heard of Speed Rack before, but it's an all-female bartender competition. It's nationwide, and it's only females. Mostly, it's basically all cocktail bartenders, but it all goes to breast cancer awareness. And you could probably check it out at speedrack.com. And they do it's like speed rounds. So I mean, you go from make me a Collins, a Manhattan, a Vucare, and a Ramos, and you have to make it under. I don't quote me on the times on this, but you have to make it under a certain time, and you race against somebody else. It's really tight competition, and if that comes to your city, really check that out or sign up for it.
Brittany out of ... just got accepted. I believe it's
So
out of
did
Atlanta.
Rhea out in
Congratulations.
Charlotte.
No, and we had
she's
actually
amazing.
Christelle Poole from Richmond is a good friend of ours. She's been on the podcast before. She was killing it out there. She just got hired by Melissa Katrinzik of Durham Distillery.
Yeah, she lives here now. I just met her a couple of days ago.
Yeah, to run Corpse Survivor, which is going to be the new bar that's subterranean of Durham Distillery's distillery. So we will definitely have Christelle on. She's awesome. She introduced me to all of these amazing chefs up in Richmond. That's how Travis Milton was on our show. Brittany Anderson, who is a James Beard nominated chef as well. She opened my world to that whole space, and I was like, cool. She's a cornerstone in Richmond, and then we just pulled her into the fold, and now she's in the Triangle. So our community is getting better, as that goes.
Please, if you are a bartender or work in a bar or do distributing or anything, please join the Raleigh-Durham USBG chapter. We really need the bodies.
U.S. Bartenders Guild.
Exactly.
You guys just did a big thing at the Bittery, Craig Rudowitz and Lindsay's
on Saturday.
Bitters place. Yeah, Jeremy was just here earlier today at the event, Jeremy Powers, and you guys were slinging drinks like crazy.
And why
Raised
would you join?
a ton of money. What's that?
And why would you join?
Why join? I mean, it's a really good connections. I mean, you get to every month. We toured Durham Distillery last month.
Education.
Education is a really big thing. I also really want health insurance, so everyone else likes health insurance.
That's right, because it's a community, so you can actually get health insurance through the USBG. That's pretty awesome in itself.
And I'm also part of the Piedmont Culinary Guild, which is
BCG.
Yeah.
Actually, let's take a quick break to talk about our brand new sponsor. It's our title sponsor of the podcast. This segment is brought to you by our brand new sponsor, the Folks Foundation. They are champions of all good things crafted in North Carolina and the folks that make them. And they are a journal. It's an online and printed journal with fascinating articles. You can actually read an article about our podcast. That's how we were connected. The folks at Folk Foundation travel all over this state in exploration of great crafters, makers of art and music and podcasts, perhaps, and also food and beverage products. Truth be told, the way we knew them is that by driving around all of our state, they listened to the North Carolina Food and Beverage podcast and thought, wow, we really like those guys. We should partner up with them. And we started looking through all of what they do, and they really are a great extension of what we do and what our mission is. And so for you, as a listener, you can sign up and become a member of the Folks Foundation. As a member, you are directly supporting makers, growers, crafters, and artisans of North Carolina, from the mountains to the sea. And when you support, you are benefiting handcrafted culture in our state that directly affects our lives every single day, from local products that we eat to the music and podcast production we listen to every day. But membership packages vary, but they all at least include a subscription to the Folks Journal, discounts to their general store, and access to exclusive content. So visit them at folksfoundation.org or check the link on our show notes in the podcast. That's the Folks Foundation.
If you own a restaurant and are looking for mobile and online ordering, give eHungry a try. They work with thousands of restaurants and charge ridiculously low fees. So let your customers order online for carryout, delivery, catering, and more. Get free setup and a 60-day free trial by visiting ehungry.com/NCFB. That's ehungry.com/NCFB. Well, let's talk to these fishmongers over here. What's going on, you guys? You're neither women or bartenders. So we got nothing for you.
That's
So
a
we
fishy
want to hear
story.
from you.
No. Leave the jokes to me, please. We were just chatting. You guys are obviously you're eventually expanding into the Durham Food Hall, which that is always fun because building anything takes forever, but that will eventually happen, which is pretty cool to talk about. But what's been going on with your business in general? I know you just did the Winter Jubilee over at Transferco. I was there. It was awesome. Had some oysters. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was great. Great event on Sunday. Lots of folks came out. We had oyster roast on the patio. We had a bunch of oyster farmers and fishermen and industry folks come up and just talk about the industry. It was great, getting folks aware of what's the resource we have right off our coast and getting them to taste some delicious oysters that are farmed in our waters.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and Justin, with the bar, with Person Street, or just the bar in general, like anything new and fun that we got to know about?
Well, really the same old stuff. It was interesting talking about strong female bartenders, and I went from one job last night with closing with female bartenders at both of the establishments. So at least where we're at, we're trying to have them be fully up in front and center. So I don't think any of those things that we were talking about are true at all, because all of our bartenders, they can carry their weight just as strong as the men and do just as good a job.
Well, good.
And on the fishmonger front, our manager of our cut shop. This is a shop where people are slinging fish. Fishmongers like hauling 200-pound swordfish up on the table.
Yeah.
She's a female, Michelin King. We call her Mish.
Really?
Michelin, and she is the shit.
She is hacking fish up.
Dude,
that's a work with your hands type of job.
She was born and raised. Grew up in the seafood industry. She worked at Whole Foods, had her own seafood shop, and we were lucky enough to find her in 2013. And she's like the back end of our company. She's awesome. Can cut a fish, amazing skills, and she puts up with a lot of dudes in the cut room and puts up with a lot of BS. And she's awesome. So shout out to her.
Well, and I don't know where she was. I asked Jayon to come in here and talk to us about what she did for food tonight with Bullbox and the bowls. So, Mike, you obviously know Jayon real well.
I'm just curious what happened. Did she just politely excuse herself from this?
Let's say
from being in the room.
A microphone is scary to Jayon, I would say. Yeah. But her food tonight was unbelievable. So, she's in both the food halls here in Raleigh at Transferco with Bullbox, and then at Morgan Street Food Hall with the bowls. So she's doing ramen and bowls. And
she's also got katsu, right?
Oh, and katsu. That's right. Yeah. Which, by the way, because I wrote the article about the chicken sandwich nonsense that everyone's freaking out, like, oh, Bojangles and Chick-fil-A. It's like, who fucking cares? By the way, it's all just a piece of meat on bread. Like, get over it. All that said, the katsu sandwich with the kimchi, and she pounds it down with panko crusting, and it's like a spicy mayo that's put on there. That blew every sandwich I had on this whole journey of tasting sandwiches out of the water. So if you want a real fried chicken sandwich, go to Katsu in the Morgan Street Food Hall. It will blow you away. It's so much better. Mike doesn't even eat meat because he's vegan. He eats katsu fried chicken every once a week.
That's how damn good it is.
Yeah. It's on his hand right now.
Yeah.
Sell out.
Yeah. Jayon is actually an incredibly talented and not only an incredibly talented culinary person, but she's also a wonderful person to work with. We're actually really lucky to work with her.
Yeah. So, Mike, with MRC, you've done a lot of the branding with her and all that, and logos, and also for Locals Oyster Bar. You guys, I see the hats you're rocking right now. I think Mike had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty sweet in general. Tonight was crazy. It was
a good night. Honest. It was a good night.
Yeah, but I'll be honest. We looked at the reservations, and of all the nights, every night sold out within a week. And when I say sold out, we didn't take any money. It's all free, just reservations. But we wanted to know who was coming and how many people were coming. And we capped it at 60 every single day. Every single night, it's at least 60, except for Wednesday.
Yeah.
It was at 21.
It was weird. We had 15 people, and I think all of them were very excited about Bullbox. We were like, what the fuck is going on?
And they really weren't excited about Ian Murray.
I told Ian Murray,
this kid talks a lot of shit.
I think it's you, man. I think you're the reason why no one's coming. But the reason why I can say this in jest
My
is
friends
because
don't make reservations.
Even though I knew Ian would be here, I wasn't that excited for him.
Yeah.
Love him.
No one is ever.
Hey.
But it was really cool. Give us? You did a nice hockey themed menu. Please let us know what you made tonight.
So I made all North Carolina spirits, of course. We did King Aries, which, if you're not familiar, from Carolina Hurricanes goalie, he came in on. He was a regular working class guy. Both the Carolina Hurricanes goalies got hurt. He came in off the bench and won the game for the Hurricanes. 41-year-old
Zamboni machine operator.
Zamboni driver. So King Aries was tangerine cordial, conniption gin from Durham, and then a little bit of lemon and orangina to make like a Collins-style cocktail. And then also I did a Gordie Howe, which if you don't know who Gordie Howe is, Google him and we'll figure it out. He likes beef and knocking out teeth. So that one was with the Fair Game apple brandy, and it was since we were dealing with kind of like Asian themed, I wanted to do some sort of Japanese highball, but instead we used North Carolina apple brandy. And then a little bit of ginger and some lemon and some Scrappy's aromatic bitters. Make it just Collinsy, spritzy as hell. I put a little bit of salt in all these cocktails too. Just a little quick secret. Every cocktail had salt in it.
I was going to say mine's pretty salty.
Yeah. Well, and then the last one here was the Mr. McCauley, who's a famous referee in the NHL. He's been around for like 30 years. He's theatrical as hell. He's always the ref for the Stanley Cup Finals. And if you can't tell, I'm a huge hockey fan. I'm Columbus Blue Jackets, not Raleigh Hurricanes, or North Carolina Hurricanes. Sorry. But yeah, so I did an Oak City Amaretto and Doc Porter Rye blend, similar to a Godfather. If you're familiar with that would be with Scotch.
Delicious.
Very similar. So yeah, I mean there was all hockey shit, and it's in the height of hockey season right now, especially here in Raleigh. Everybody's fired up for the Hurricanes. So hopefully they make the playoff run.
Ian, you crushed it.
Yeah.
Cheers, brother.
The drinks are amazing.
Cheers. Grazie.
Thank you so much.
By the way, Anthony Scalabrino, who makes Oak City Amaretto, is going to be on the NC F&B in about 2 weeks. We've already recorded the episode, but he's awesome, veteran-owned.
Actually, veteran.
Just a good guy with an amazing recipe, and is just knocking it out of the park.
Quit buying Di Serrano. Buy Oak City Amaretto.
Every bartender out there, if you're just looking like, make the conscious decision to shop local. You know, somebody said it. I pour one out right here for Lassiter's rum. They no longer are a business. They went out, but I love what Gentry, who's been a great friend on the podcast, with the podcast, and us just personally. One of his great things that he wrote on the last post they had on their account was, talk to your bartenders. If they're saying they're going to have local beer, but then they've got all international spirits, call them out on it, because if you're going to be local, then be local and support. Foundation's local as fuck.
All American, baby.
100%.
All American. 100% American spirits. All 100% North Carolina beers. That even goes to vermouth, Amaro, wine, everything. So all American.
Yeah, keep that in mind, because when you do shop local, it's not just a fun thing to say. The reason for doing that is you are internally supporting the community of which you live. And if you do that, if you made Local's Oyster Bar a ton of money, sure, they might buy new hats and maybe a cool car, but they also might open a bunch of other great restaurants and new outlets for you to enjoy, because you're making that economy thrive. And if there's another Foundation bar that opens up in Chapel Hill, sure, why not?
It's not going to happen.
But I'm just saying, if that happens, it's great. And if great liquor is produced because you're supporting the liquor scene, then do that. Go to Outer Banks, get some Kill Devil rum. You know, we should pop that gold that you got right up there, too.
Go to Clayton, get some Instill rum.
Get some Instill rum. I'm wearing the hat. The guys from Instill were here tonight, and they're killing.
That sucker's a little beauty up there, man.
Yeah. So we got a lot
trophy.
out
Y'all
here.
got Pappy.
North Carolina is doing a great job with local spirits. Key City Spirits, thank you so much for supporting all that you do as well.
How about some local dairy too?
Some local dairy.
So we use Ran Lou. That's what our shrimp and oysters hang out in, a little buttermilk before they get dredged in North Carolina cornmeal and fried. So
yeah, we don't usually know who gets our stuff that goes to the distributors, so it always tickles me to know to find out who uses our stuff, because it's...
Ran, I know it's a podcast, but when you said tickles you, I just got an image of what you look like being tickled. And it
ain't pretty, but it's good.
And on that, thank you very much, everybody. Eat and drink merrily.
Thanks for listening to the NC F&B podcast.
And if you've stuck with us this long, review us on iTunes, and remember, 5 stars are encouraged.